Traffic Association. We do a lot of shared trails presentations and community outreach to help create awareness in the community in regards to traffic. We have six presentations scheduled for this year. And for our shared trails presentations, High Lake Lodge is our primary sponsor. If you haven't seen Larry and me this morning, when we're done with this, I'll get back over there to the booth. Come see me. So like I was saying before, it's important that you understand the mechanics of the track and actually know how to set it or unset it. And it's better to learn it in this environment than when your dog actually has a trap on us. Okay. All right. Is everybody here on Musher? Okay. Everybody should know who that is, yeah? Samantha Levant. She's the rookie that won the Red Lantern Award for Iditarod this past year. We sponsored her, and we're looking for another rookie to sponsor for this year's Iditarod. And then there's Laura Eklund out of Fairbanks, who plays 7th in Iditarod. That's another musher that we support. Well, sponsor, not sponsor. There she nice big smile. Okay, so, if you look at the history of Alaska, it was miners, mushers, and trappers that established trails. And in time, populations grown, more people, especially out here to the valley. And when you have more people, we start having more conflicts. And unfortunately, there's good dog owners and there's bad dog owners, just like there's good trappers and there's bad trappers. When the two bad ones meet up, it's always a disaster. Because everybody loves their dog. 4 dogs. For me, I have a little pack of 4, a Chihuahua mix, rescue sled dog out of Nome, named Margot, and a chocolate lab named Dutch. And she's my hook on the dog. They're just like my kids, they're part of my family. I love them to death. So there's that aspect. Majority of the incidents that occur here in the valley are from not so smart dog owners is the best way to put it. Because just about every trailhead in the valley, we have signs. Most trappers hang signs. I hang signs on my trap line. And you have people see the signs with the dog, he'll walk right past it. Let the dog off leash, and the dog ends up getting caught in the trap. And no matter what happens or what the scenario is, public opinion always sways. That's the trapper's fault. The trap is bad. It should be trapped. And thank you. But 90% of the times when incidents do happen, it's because of the dog. I'll give you an example. 2 incidents that happened last year on Jim's Creek. Everybody knows what Jim Creek is, yeah. Okay. That trail system was established by a trapper back in the 60s. As the population grows, people found it, we started using it for recreation. More people come, and we start having conflicts, okay? The one lady was walking down the main trail, saw a side trail. Her dog was off leash. She took the side trail, lost sight of her dog. She said, I only lost sight of her for 5 minutes, and the dog ended up dead in the snare. Okay? Trapper made that little foot trail going back in there. She followed it. Dog was off leash, not under her control, not under her sight, and the dog died. Ain't the trapper's fault, but public opinion, oh, it's a trap. You know, so that was one incident. The other incident, a trapper placed a Wolverine set within 100 yards of the trailhead. Now, you know that there's things that you can do because it's legal, but ethically, you probably shouldn't. Okay? This set was legal. I would have never put it there. We don't teach putting it within 100 yards of the trailhead. But he did. The lady had her dog off leash. She was going to ride up that fat bike, and she didn't feel safe having the dog on a leash. The dog took off. She lost sight of it. The dog got caught in the 330 combat. Fortunately, the dog twisted his head with a trap wire and ended up getting caught on the sides of the neck, not up and down. Because 330s were created as a very humane trap for wolverine, for otter, and for beaver. And if you look at a wolverine, otter, beaver, the neck size is only like that. Okay? 330, it's lights out quick. A dog, you start talking, you know, a lab. Neck size is like that. Okay? Even if the trap punches the way it's supposed to, it won't kill the dog immediately. You'll have 45 seconds, maybe a minute and a half, to get the trap off before the dog dies. So that's why it's important to come over and get hands on. Because if my dog got caught in a trap, especially at 330, my adrenaline would be going. I'd be pissed, but I know how to get the dog out, but I'd still be upset. But if I didn't ever deal with it before, then it'd be bad business.
I'm so sorry, it won't turn on.
That's okay. So I strongly encourage you, if you haven't been over to our little booth, come over there so we can demonstrate how to get the dog out and you can actually do it. Okay, I'm going to show a video from the Alaska Trapping Association by Pete Buse. He's out of Fairbanks. He used to be a musher. And he talks about a lot of good information.
I'm Pete Buse with the Alaska Trappers Association. I've trapped for over 50 years, primarily here in interior Alaska. My main trap line was south of the river on the Tanana Flats. I love dogs. I've always had house dogs. I'm also a recovering musher. I kept and used dogs for recreation and trap line transportation for many years. Now I'm pretty much cured of keeping 45 dogs around the house. I'm also the son of a veterinarian. My mom, the late Jean Buse, worked on the Yukon Quest for many years at the Free Range Vet Check and as a trail vet. If you're of a mind that trapping is nasty business and has no place in modern society, I'm not here to try and change your mind. I am here to try and help dog owners, mushers, ski tours, and recreationists get along in harmony with trappers. We're here today because no matter what laws and ordinances we pass, there will always be irresponsible pet owners and irresponsible trappers. And when these two lower life forms clash, we end up with dogs accidentally caught in traps. We all want to avoid that. Make no mistake about it, having a dog caught in a trap is a royal pain for everybody involved. A trap with a dog in it obviously will not catch a valuable fur bearer. The set cannot be reused and the trap must be treated and descented. Often the trapper gets bitten releasing the dog. There's potential liability, and I'm talking about financial liability to the trapper, not just the chance that the poor dog will contract something from biting the trapper. Even when it was the dog owner who broke the law, it's the trappers who come out looking bad. And that's all trappers, not just the one who set that trap. He or she is usually nowhere to be found. So now we've established that trappers definitely do not want to catch dogs. Dogs will get caught, and there will be calls to Fish and Game, Animal Control, and the troopers. Here are some ways to know or suspect that you are on a trap line or near traps and snares. Where there's one, there are likely more. Trap line signage. Visible sets. Some are big and obvious. Cubbies, wings, bait, carcasses, survey tape and flagging. Little trails off the main trail traveled regularly. Trapped animals, catch circles. Cubbies are sticks or brush arranged like a pen to direct a fur bearer over a trap to reach the bait. A dirt or snow hole set is a hole in the soil or snow that mimics a hole dug by a fur bearer to stash some food that he may come back to later. A urine post set imitates a stub or piece of brush that a fur bearer, normally a canine, uses to mark his territory. A pole set is a small diameter pole, usually set against a tree. It's primarily for trapping marten, and it features a trap set between the ground and the bait. Snares are cable of various sizes designed to catch an array of animals. The smaller sizes catch mink, marten, red squirrels, up to larger cable, which is used for species such as wolf and wolverine. It consists of a sliding lock, and the other end is anchored to a tree or log. Conibears are a killer type trap. There are various sizes. This is a smaller size used for marten or mink. Larger sizes are used for up to the size of a wolverine or a beaver. Foothold traps are also common in Alaska. Smaller sizes are used for mink and marten, similar sized fur bearers, and all the way up to larger sizes that are used for wolf and wolverine. Securing and fastening traps. Why is this important? Because with a dog that has been restrained in a trap for some time, it may be best to bring the animal back into a tent, cabin, or even back to town before removing the device. Probably the most common way that traps are attached is simply wiring the chain to a tree or a stump. And the chain is put around the tree and wired to itself. Another way that a trap is commonly attached is with a wooden drag cut on site. The chain is wrapped around the wood and secured to make something that will travel a little ways from the set, but not a long ways. One of the most common types of traps, the double long spring, is luckily one of the easiest to release animals from. Now, when a trapper sets a double long spring, he generally sets it over his knee. That's virtually impossible to do if it has a dog. So, we use a trap setter to set larger double long spring traps. You use that trap setter to gain a mechanical advantage to depress the springs. You depress one side, tie it in that position, and then go to the other side and depress that so the jaws roll over. A tool that's more commonly available is just a C-clamp or two C-clamps, and you can put them on the springs of the trap and use them to give you a mechanical advantage, tightening the springs and depressing them. If you have no tools, you can make a field expedient trap setter out of just two sticks or two ski poles and a piece of string, and use that to depress the springs on the trap. Another common trap is the coil spring trap. It has a tab on each side, and to release the jaws, you depress those tabs simultaneously. Smaller traps for marten and mink are commonly single long spring, where there's only a spring on one side of the trap, and it's fairly easy to depress and open the jaws. Killer or conveyor style traps are the hardest to release. Generally, we trappers carry trap setters specifically for that. If you're just out with your dog somewhere, you're not going to have that. But you might have a piece of cord or rope. You can thread rope through both springs and then secure that running end. And you use the leverage that you gain from the rope to help with your hand strength to compress the springs. Unless you've been with your dog in a real traumatic situation, few people can fathom the change in your friend from Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde. Even the most cuddly lap dog will just as soon bite you as look at you if he or she is hurt and scared. Take my word for it, you will have a far more difficult time releasing your dog if he's making hamburger out of your hand while you attempt this. Probably the first thing to do is to avoid being bitten, so try throwing your coat or jacket over the dog's head. Then, once he's calmed a little, always best to put a muzzle on. And you can use gauze from your first aid kit. That's what veterinarians use. It's handy, and you can use it to tie his mouth shut. Another field expedient muzzle that's easy to make is from a neck scarf or rope or a piece of a musher's gang line. Anything to keep you from being bitten. Consider carrying a small kit with some tools and materials that would be helpful in releasing a dog accidentally caught in a trap or snare, as well as basic canine first aid supplies. Remember, throw your coat or jacket over the dog's head. Always muzzle the dog. Tie the free feet. Otherwise, once the trap is open, they are free and not always as grateful as you would want them to be. It may be better to transport the dog without removing the trap. Just as with people, if the foot is frozen, it's best to not thaw it until you are sure it will not refreeze. Many user groups recognize the need for responsible behavior on winter trails. Here are representatives from other organizations explaining their support for the concept of sharing those trails. The Alaska Trappers Association appreciates their support for our combined efforts.
My name is Nicole Schmidt. I am the Executive Director of the Alaska Wildlife Alliance. And to trappers who are watching today, we hope that you'll be a partner in safe outdoor spaces by setting your traps away from common multi-use areas such as trails, beaches, roads, trailheads. We also hope that you will check your traps regularly to avoid animal suffering and to avoid other folks who are out on the trails seeing animals trapped. And finally, we hope that you will sign or identify your trap lines so that others can know to avoid them. And for everyone else who is not a trapper but uses these trails, we hope that you'll watch this video to understand and inform yourself as to how to release a trap should you come upon it. Trapping is a practice that is lawful across most Alaskan lands, and so it's important that we are all aware and use these outdoor recreation areas with as much information as possible. We applaud Alaska Trappers Association for including us in this video and for creating educational opportunities for all folks to learn so that we can have safe and shared multi-use areas across Alaska.
My name is Todd Shellett, President of Alaska Dog Mushers Association. I've been affiliated with the Trappers Association for over 40 years. And while they're out there on their trap line doing their thing, and we are out on our trail running dogs, we do have one goal in mind, and that is to keep all pets, dogs, out of traps and snares. And with more and more people using our trail systems now, it is even more important that we do our part in keeping the trail systems safe.
We hope that you never need to know how to rescue a dog from a trap, but we also hope that you learn some things from this video to keep that from happening. For more information, contact the Alaska Trappers Association or the Alaska Department of Fish and Game.
All right, and this will be followed by another video from Alaska Department of Fish and Game. How to do 330 trap with rope.
Hi, I'm Bob Hunter with Alaska Department of Fish and Game. We're going to show you how to remove a dog from a body grip type trap. These are commonly referred to as con-bear traps. They're a lot more complicated because they're designed to be a humane killing trap. So you need to move very rapidly if you're going to successfully get your dog out of these. You have to get them out quickly. Now, using items that you should have with you, most people will have an adequate leash, but we strongly recommend that you have a leash of at least 6 feet in length, okay? It's also recommended that you use a rounded leash, like a rope. The rope has less tendency to catch in the springs when you're trying to compress them, okay? But a lot of people may not have that with you. Use what you have. But you need to have a leash with adequate length because you need to have a loop on one end that you can get over winter footwear. This is going to provide you some ability to pull back on the leash. A smaller leash loop like this may not fit over winter boots, in which case you loop it back on itself and put it over your boot and secure it. But if you have a short leash, you may not have an adequate amount of leash left to run through the trap springs. Okay, so let's move right to the trap and I'll demonstrate how we compress the springs. Here, you've got your dog in the trap. You can either work from the front of the trap or the back of the trap, but don't move the trap up into a vertical position because it may further injure your dog. Okay, try to maintain the trap in the horizontal position. It's going to create less damage to the dog. You're going to take the leash, run it through the trap spring loop here next to the jaws, all the way through. Bring it back on itself. You're going to run it through twice, okay? Try not to twist it or run it around the jaws. That's going to interfere with being able to compress the spring. Get your foot underneath, preferably. Get the loop over your boot. Draw it tight and start compressing the spring. Pull back on the leash, wrap it around your hand if you need to. Bring it back a little bit further. Keep doing this until you can fully compress the spring. Then get the latch, the safety hook, get it over the spring. You can then relax your grip on this side. You need to rapidly move so that you can do the spring on the opposite side. So we get this out, okay? Move over to this side. Run it through twice. Get our foot through the loop here, okay? Draw the leash tight. Start compressing the spring, bring it back, and like that. That now has taken the pressure off the trap jaws. Get those trap jaws open as quickly as possible and get your dog out of the trap. And that should do.
All right. Okay. Trappers have a code of ethics and responsibilities. I read them all to you, but they're on the back of the trapping regulations. So, new trappers that come in, we offer them trapper education course. For other trappers, we do meetings that we talk about our code of ethics. We talk about the responsibility of being a trapper. We talk about doing the right things, not to be that guy. So like Pete said in that video, it only takes one person to give everybody a black eye. And so as an organization, we preach and we pound, hey, do the right things, do the right things. Out of all the dogs that have been caught in the past 5 years, how many of them were on a leash? 0. Okay, most trails are established by trappers, mushers, and miners. Jim Creek is a perfect example of this. Most incidents conflicts occur because pets were off leash and outside of the owner. Okay, Madison Borough Code 2024, all animals shall be continuously under restraint. The borough has a leash law. And when we say leash law, your dog's either on a leash, it's in sight, or under borough command. That's the definition of that rule. Okay? A lot of people think, well, I want my dog to be free and go run wherever it wants, do what it wants. If you love your freaking dog, in the wintertime, November 10th, March 31st, take it out traffic season, please. Okay? And there's trails within the Madison Borough that we have setbacks, we agree to setbacks, that the trails itself is trap-free within the trail. You're still allowed to have elevated sets, enclosed sets, underwater other ice sets right beside the trail. But none of those were hurt at all. Okay? You go into the woods, you see a trap, and you think it's illegal, or it shouldn't be set there. By law, you're not allowed to disturb it. Okay? And I've been in the position, even as the freaking chairman of a chapter, I go out and I find a trap while I'm out duck hunting with my dog Dutch. And there's a beaver slide. The trap's supposed to be in the water by regulation, but the trap was up on top on dry ground. And, okay. Got all the troopers. John troopers, because my dog could have got caught in there. That trapper is ignorant, ain't following the regulations. That trapper would give us a black eye, okay? So the troopers, we work very closely with the troopers. Give them a call, we'll come out and they'll check it out. Okay? Back to, that's supposed to be on a leash, under voice command, and or within the eyesight of the owner. Majority of trap lines here in the Massey Valley will have an active trap line sign on it. It'll say, trap line, John, and a phone number. That's what you'll see online. And all you have to do is call that number if you want to run that trail, or if you're looking for a place to trap. We're in the process of getting signs placed at every trailhead within the Massey Borough. And when I say every trailhead, I mean every trailhead. The last Wildlife Alliance was able to get a grant through the Palmer Trails Committee. And we were able to get a grant from Massey Trail Foundation. And both of them were $4K each, so we got a lot of signs. But the intent is to create public awareness. Okay? There's 13 trails within the Massey Borough that now have setbacks. It's in the regulations, it's a good tracking handbook. Okay? No trapping or snaring allowed within 50 yards of this trail except for approved sets. Okay? The approved sets are elevated, enclosed, which means in a box, underwater or under ice. That was proposal 82 that got passed last year to the Department of Fish and Game. Okay. Like I said, the biggest thing is the hands-on fishing. You don't want to try to figure crap out when your dog's caught in the trap. It's better to have that knowledge beforehand than after the fact. So when we're done here, ain't been over and seen Laramie, I'll be over there. Feel free to come over and talk to me, and I'll be more than happy to show you how to get a bear out, a dog out, not a bear.
I can hang out too because I'm over 20 years. You don't get some smoke from 3:30 over there,
So when this is done, we'll go over there. If you have time, we'll show you how to do it. We talked about snares. There's 3 of the most common snares, locks on this. Okay? One is a slim lock, one's a sure lock, one's a cam lock. Okay? They all work the same way. They cinch down, they tighten, they don't back off. Okay? Those signs on my trap line, I've had people with dogs go right by them. And my line, I don't set anything within a mile from my trailhead. Take your dog back in there and they'll hit a snare line, take out 3 snares, hit another snare line, take out 5 snares. And the last one, the guy actually knew what he was doing because it didn't mess my snares up. A lot of people will take cable cutters out and try cutting the cable. You can do that, but it's a lot more simpler if you learn how to open the locks. And all you gotta do is put a finger underneath, push up, and simultaneously, with your thumb up top, push down. Same thing on every lock. They're easy. So I'm gonna pass this around. Because again, it goes back to the hands-on aspect. Okay, footholds. Footholds, if your dog gets caught in a foothold, you're in the vicinity, they're easy to get out. What Pete said about a frozen foot, that's very little. If the dog's in a trap, take the trap and the dog out. Because if you try taking the dog's foot out while it's frozen, you're just creating more damage. And it ain't a pretty sight. Okay? Now, everybody here is a musher, yes? All right. Have you guys had any problems with trappers? No. Why?
We're on the trail.
Because you're on the trail, that's a part of it.
Dogs are contained, they're under control.
Dogs are under control, that's an absolute positive aspect of it.
Trappers know how to set traps where they're not the way a dog eats.
Yes. Okay, and if any of you guys ever have an issue, please call the troopers, okay? Because every trapper that we work with does not mess around with mushers, okay? Because your dogs cost a lot of money, and no one wants to be that guy that catches a dog that's supposed to be running in the activity line, okay? So we try to give them wide berth. Sometimes, and it happens, it happened to me, I feel I'm a pretty good dog owner. The dog gets loose. You know, you can do your damnedest, and some of them just can't control it. And they take off. And then, you know, unfortunately, they get caught in a trap. You know, things happen. So, you guys have any questions of me? I appreciate your